Hello and welcome everyone. My name is Lucian Zaborowski. I am the Associate Head of Marketing here at Creatio. Today we have a superb webinar with superb speakers. Our themes today are AI and low-code. Very excited about today's webinar. We have here Alan John, an account director from Collier Picard, as well as Alex Petronenko, a product evangelist from Creatio. We have a session on AI and low code, and it's really about the revenue aspects of how these technologies can help businesses of all sizes and all industries to grow their revenues in 2021 and beyond using these technologies. It's a very relevant topic given the current situation. It's a topic that every business is always looking to improve, and so we have these two fantastic speakers that will cover this topic in detail, and I am very excited to talk about it with them. Now, in terms of the agenda, we'll just cover the speakers themselves and the companies they represent, and then we'll talk about AI. We'll talk about the revenue aspects and how the technology can really help companies to grow their revenues with the different aspects of AI. But we'll also talk about low code, and we will have some fantastic use cases and case studies of two completely different companies. One a startup and one a very established business that has both, and both of them have used these technologies to their advantage. So I'm not going to spoil it. I'm going to leave it to our presenters to talk details about these organizations, but very practical cases and ones that are really worth considering and looking into in more detail. Now we'll talk about what does low code mean, because actually, despite the lot of talk out there, there is still a lot of companies and individuals still are trying to figure out what it actually means to be a low code organization. And then we'll talk about Creatio AI roadmap, what it is that Creatio does in terms of our tech, in terms of AI. We are a low-code platform already, so there isn't all that much to discuss about low-code aspect, but we wanted to talk to you about the AI aspect of Creatio. We'll have a Q&A at the end, so please put your questions in the chat, and we will be answering them towards the end of the session. Keep in mind the recording, we have a recording of this session. We are recording, and we will be sharing the recording with you afterwards, together with any questions that we have not been able to answer. We'll follow up with an email to all of the participants. So let's now go to our speakers, starting with Alan. Alan, welcome, and excited to have you. Please give us a little bit of an introduction of yourself and Collier Picard.
Okay, thanks, Lucian. Yes, I'm excited to be here as well. I mean, this is a really interesting time to be involved in technology. The pandemic has changed everything for lots and lots of businesses. So the whole of my career has been in technology for business. It's spanned all areas of business automation, manufacturing, engineering, financial services, not-for-profit. And I just picked out a few key things about myself on this slide. I've spent the last 25 years specialized in CRM, and the fact that CRM always coexists with a financial system or an ERP system in order to give the 360-degree view of the customer that most people are looking for. During my time at Collier Picard, I spent an 8-year period as the marketing director at Collier Picard, and that was when we introduced marketing automation into the portfolio as an integral part of CRM and business development. So this 25 years experience spans the core management team of the company and adds up to an awful lot of man years between us. As a focus, we have fine-tuned our attitude and our approach towards CRM, such that we're always looking for ways to make CRM a differentiation engine. What is it that makes you as the CRM user unique, or rather, what is it that makes you in your industry unique? And how can we best apply CRM to bring that to the fore and help you differentiate yourself in the market at all times? That about covers that, Lucian, as an introduction.
Thank you so much, Alan. And now let's head over to Alex. Alex, please give us a little bit of an introduction of yourself as well as Creatio.
Thank you, Lucian. Thank you for passing the floor. And everyone, I'm very excited to be here. My name is Alex Petronenko. I'm the product evangelist with Creatio. I've been with the company for more than 9 years now, and it's been a very exciting time and very exciting to see how the market has been changing, how the market has been evolving in the space that we are at, and of course, how the whole topic and incorporation of artificial intelligence and machine learning has evolved and has actually entered the daily life of our customers, of our prospects. And of course, it was extremely exciting to see how Creatio was actually as well driving the space of AI and machine learning models for CRM business, for low-code business, and for business process management. A few words about Creatio, just to remind our newest participants about who we are. Creatio is a truly global organization with 5 offices around the globe, with our HQ being in Boston, Massachusetts. We are 650 people strong and counting, out of which more than half are actually dedicated to research and development, which is quite unique for an organization of our size, right? And really shows how exactly Creatio is committed to delivering the best of class low-code application platform for CRM and business process management. But it's not just about our own employees. We are quite proud to say that we partner with more than 700 organizations worldwide that helps us bring Creatio and reach out to more than 110 countries. And of course, these partners, similar to Creatio Ai themselves, vary from large global system integrators to mid-sized large organizations, and of course, smaller boutique consultancies and implementation partners. Creatio has been recognized by leading industry analysts of Gartner and Forrester, where we've been included as leaders in 5 Gartner Magic Quadrants and into 7 Forrester Waves as leaders and contenders. And now passing the floor back to you, Alan, to go ahead and cover some of the growth revenues in 2021.
Thank you so much, Alex. I am very excited to have you both here, and I think we now will go ahead with the core content and presentation. I will hand it over to Alan to talk to us about growing revenues in 2021. Alan, tell us more and let's learn about this together.
Okay, thanks, Lucian. So in order to help me through this journey today, I'm going to refer to four different forms of authority. W. Edwards Deming and Albert Einstein were thought leaders of the 20th century, and McKinsey and Sales Hacker are industry watchers, industry analysts of the 21st century, who always do good survey work and present good analysis of trends within the industries that they watch, and in this case, technology for business. In case you're not aware of them, Deming is the engineering and management consultant that is accredited with bringing just-in-time manufacturing to the world. So after the Second World War in the 50s, many manufacturing and supply chain organizations adopted just-in-time techniques in order to drive down costs, improve efficiency, and improve the financial footprint of the organizations and the way they manage them. And Deming became a guru. He runs, there's a management school in his name in the States that people use for certification and for thought leadership driven learning. Einstein, whilst most people will know him for E=mc² as a brilliant physicist, Einstein was also a philosopher and a great social commentator of the 20th century, and we're going to pick up on one of his comments and use it to drive some of the thoughts that we're going to present today. So when we talk about business growth, people say to me, what is it that you can do with technology that will help your business grow? How can I improve my revenues? How can I increase my my turnover? And for most people, there are three levers that you could pull in business terms. One is to automate processes, to improve efficiency, to try to do more with less, to follow the Deming line of just-in-time thinking, of decreasing your financial footprint and doing more process work, which just increases the speed and effectiveness with which you do things. Another lever that you could pull is to minimize the risk of poor customer experience. And that would represent your governance, the ethos you run inside your company, and using technology to make it easier for people to adopt that good governance and to eliminate errors in the way that you deliver your customer experience. The third lever that people try and pull with technology is one that's a little more, needs a little more thought to achieve, and that is to actually improve the culture of the way your people work and the way they approach the customer-facing tasks that they're involved in. The idea of many CRM systems is to make it easier for people to do business with you, and that becomes not an efficiency piece, but a cultural piece, whereby people become more effective in the way that they engage with customers. So I pulled out a couple of definitions which are going to help us in this discussion. Artificial intelligence is using technology to process knowledge. In other words, trying to make the technology work like humans do, to understand processes, to learn, and to take actions which are based on knowledge. And I think most people are familiar with that terminology, that definition of artificial intelligence, and also with the embedded term in there, machine learning, which we'll refer to during this presentation. Low code is perhaps a term that people are less familiar with, but they may be familiar with terms like rapid application development or one-button deployments of systems. And this technology, this one-button deployment, is often represented graphically, whereby people define a process, they map it out on an intelligent graphical user interface, and the functions that sit behind each of the steps in the process that you've defined in this graphical way are compiled into the technology environment, the tech stack that helps you drive your business. They're compiled automatically. All you do is define the steps in the process, and the technology unfolds without you having to do any coding. One of my colleagues at Collier Pickard recently commented that moving from conventional coding to customized CRM into a low-code environment means that he can now perform 80% of a CRM deployment with only 20% of the effort. And that's what low-code brings to the party. So let's go back to this definition of processes. Deming, in his whole management thinking and in his just-in-time manufacturing and engineering methodologies, is absolutely adamant that you have to define a process. And so, if that's where we're going to go, what does the application of artificial intelligence do to this approach towards defining everything as a process? And I mentioned that we would look at some statistics from McKinsey. McKinsey is an incredibly well-established and well-respected research organization around the world, and they have been, for the last several years, they've been running a global survey around organizations to measure the state of AI. And the comparison between 2019 survey and the 2020 survey was quite marked. So this is the results of the McKinsey poll. They run their poll fairly on in the year, so their 2020 research relates to people's opinions in FY 2019. And it's interesting that the figure on the top line there for marketing and sales combined shows that 80% confirmed that 79% of companies believe that AI helps them most in the area of sales and marketing. This, for me, is a marked change in the way people think about AI, because if you go back to the 1950s and the 1960s and the introduction of Deming's thinking in just-in-time, that was all about service operations, manufacturing operations, and supply chain. And as you can see, these areas in this survey have dropped off in terms of where people see them improving the revenues of a company versus the sales and marketing area. So this is why we have a focus on AI and process and low-code processes, which can make things change quickly in CRM, because it's where you're going to get the biggest return. I think it's quite interesting that more than 10% of the companies surveyed by McKinsey were predicted that they had increased their revenue by more than 10% through the adoption of AI in the previous year. So that's the state of play there. The opinion, this 10% figure, seems to be universal. The Office of Artificial Intelligence from the UK government produced a report suggesting that AI could have a positive impact on the GDP of the whole of the United Kingdom by as much as 10% over the next 10 years. So this impact on growth of AI on growth is really important. And if you're not considering it at the moment, our recommendation would be that you put it on your agenda and investigate it soon. Now, Lucien mentioned that we were going to use two case studies, two use cases in order to illustrate this deployment of AI and low-code technology. And my first example is a startup. It's an entrepreneurial startup. It's in a unique area of business. BrainTrainUK is a neuroscience and neurofeedback business. I won't go into the details of what neurofeedback is. It involves ultra-low frequencies connecting different parts of the brain in order to speed up communication inside the brain. The technology that does this is brand new. It obviously works in the area of applied psychology, and from the point of view of organizations, medical organizations operating in this field, in my country, that's the British Psychological Society. They don't recognize this technology as being valid psychology treatment, clinical psychology treatment yet, because it's not yet evidence-based. And everything in medicine these days has to be evidence-based. So we're going to use this application of the AI and machine learning with BrainTrain to help the organization develop the evidence base it needs to exploit its entrepreneurial ideas and grow very rapidly. So we've divided our deployment process up into 3 stages that are just about to kick off in 2021. The first is the conventional thing that you would expect to do with the CRM system. We're going to focus on client onboarding and then managing long-term relationship with those clients and looking for referrals from those clients to others so that the business can grow virally through referrals and networking in the way that you might expect a service of this type to grow. But the second is the area that's really interesting. The neurofeedback process connects various points in the brain in the way that these little diagrams are illustrating, and the connections that are relevant to an individual client are entirely derived through a set of best practice algorithms against the symptoms which are displayed by the client. So the symptoms we're addressing are things like sleeplessness, anxiety, inability to concentrate, depression, anger, all the things that you might go to a clinical psychologist for. And but in this case, you're going to try the neurofeedback approach. Now, it requires a lot of skill to determine which are the right neurofeedback connections to apply to this client based on the symptoms, because there are over 200 different symptoms that might be tracked by a client with varying degrees of severity of many of those conditions. And so we've used AI and low-code technology to automate the algorithms and deliver the neurofeedback plan for this client as an automatic process that's triggered entirely by the client entering their own symptoms into a portal. Now, the development of this matching and planning has taken literally a few days because it's all put together using low-code technology. Step 3 is to move into the arena of big data. Once thousands and ultimately tens of thousands of clients have passed through this process, the machine learning aspects of artificial intelligence will help this organization refine the way that it defines its algorithms and the way that it improves continually the neurofeedback treatment plans that it puts together for clients exhibiting not before seen areas of combinations of symptoms. And if I represent this this process in terms of where the technology fits, we have a fairly straightforward schematic here, where the client portal on the left-hand side becomes the feed into conventional CRM functionality and schedules for treatments. But the client portal also becomes the place for neurofeedback planning based on the symptom tracking that's been entered by the client themselves. So the feedback loop that's going on here through a knowledge base, applying machine learning and AI, means that this enterprise database, which now supports the analysis of best practice from the practitioner's point of view, and can provide them with dashboard views on trends and what's working best, that whole process can be used to inform lower skilled technicians who can deliver the neurofeedback programs, knowing that even though they're not fully qualified practitioners, they are doing exactly the right thing for the client based on the machine learning that's being delivered to them in the form of a treatment plan. And we've basically been able to apply AI and low-code technologies here in a way that, that Einstein would have approved of. So I mentioned that Einstein was a social philosopher. The founder of BrainTrainUK has in fact done this thing. He's walking in places that no one has ever been before. And if you apply that back to business, and I reference a piece from a blog written by one of my colleagues, that BrainTrainUK is trying to set itself apart from competition. It's trying to offer a service that's faster, more complete, and lower cost. And by giving these tools, these AI-driven tools, to their smartest people, to their fully qualified neurofeedback practitioners. And as always, the answer to the question is that you need to plan it properly in the first place. So Stuart Black, the founder of BrainTrain, had done a great job in doing the Einstein thing of walking alone and finding new ways to define how neurofeedback technology could actually benefit patients. But he was genuinely perplexed by how he could get technology to help. And he, like all entrepreneurs that start up, he had limited budget. And if you look at some of the AI projects that have happened in the medical world, for example, oncology in the United States of America is fully automated in a big IBM AI system, and it costs millions and millions of dollars to set up over many, many years. And so Stuart was perplexed as to how he could take advantage of very modern technology. The truth is that in order to create the client onboarding, the symptom capture, the symptom matching, and the neurofeedback output, the treatment plans, all of that happened with low-code development. The only piece of coding that was done in the whole of this this configuration was a little bit of code to use the API to set up financial and payment transactions with their financial accounting system. So we had to do a little bit of code just to make sure that payments were coming through into and being recorded properly inside the Creatio CRM system. But all the hard work of providing Stuart and his people with this differentiation engine, all of it was done with low-code development in literally a handful of days.
Wow, thank you. That's a great answer.
Okay, so you might say, well, that's all very well. You know, you start with a clean sheet and it's easy to build from scratch. What happens if I'm not in that situation? And so I pulled out another use case, and my second example is of a business which was established in 1862. It's been trading for over 150 years. Blagden is a leader in its industry. It distributes chemicals from countries, manufacturers all over the world into its chosen channels. The cosmetics, the food industries, the printing industry. There are a number of different industries that use specialist chemicals as an integral part of their own manufacturing process, and Blagden is the preferred supplier in a dozen different industries. Now, a business that's been based on 150-year trading history is one that's very, very, very good at relationship management. And the relationship that Blagden people manage to build with their customers and with their suppliers has been based traditionally on face-to-face meetings. The arrival of the COVID pandemic has prevented them from working the way that they normally work, and has perhaps in principle offered an opportunity for other people to come in and start to steal some of their customers. So a digital transformation was the requirement here in order to transform the business from one that was predicated on face-to-face contact into one that could survive and still exploit its uniques with digital contact, with video contact, and so on. So the steps that we're taking here with Blagden are to first realize some immediate success from making CRM a system of record and in a central way within the whole company. So hitherto, each business line manager, each account manager has probably had their own way of working very successfully, aligned to the industries that they supply. And the first step is to pull all that together and create the efficiency that we talked about in terms of business levers, and also to exercise the risk lever to make everybody aware of good governance and to try to eliminate instances of poor customer experience. The second step is to then look at the thing that makes Blagden unique in its industry and apply CRM rapid application development using low code into blending together its customer relationship management with its supplier relationship management and its ISO 9001 quality management process. And we will use low code to automate their ISO 9001 processes in such a way that customer case handling times, service level agreements, case resolution times will automatically feed into their quality process, and ISO audits will take place as an automatic byproduct of people simply using the low-code system that has been configured using these modern tools.
The case of I'm just curious again on this case. It seems like the big aspect here was CRM and low code. Are there any aspects of AI that in this case this customer also had? And I guess you'll talk more about this, but just curious in terms of the combination of low code, CRM, and AI.
I think the answer to the question, Lucian, is that low code is the emphasis now in order to pull those first two levers, which is improving efficiency and decreasing risk of customer loss as a result of the digital change and the outcome of the pandemic and new ways of working. The third step is where AI and machine learning will come in. So the data-driven transformations that they can make in terms of pulling that third business lever, the culture one, making it easier for people to do business with you. Once we've captured the most effective ways of working between customer relationship, supplier relationship, and quality management, once we've accumulated lots of that data into the system, we'll have enough big data to be able to apply some machine learning to it. And the application of AI, true AI, in Blagden will be step 3 in the process of this digital transformation. At step 1, there isn't enough data to apply machine learning to.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay, so this whole process, I said that there was another industry analyst organization that we would look at, and it's Sales Hacker. They're very different scale to McKinsey, but their statistics from a survey that was published only 3 weeks ago is that the majority of sales leaders will implement some form of sales model that takes advantage of CRM and sales intelligence in the future. And that even though this might come at some capital investment, it's predicted that that's entirely worth it. And that's clearly the opinion that Blagden have taken. The Managing Director and Chief Executive, Graham Turton at Blagden, made this comment. And in terms of the way that we will continue a long-term relationship with Blagden, we will be, as I said in answer to Lucian's question, be addressing those first 2 levers first, and then helping them pull together a culture that uses machine learning to define some new best practices that will help them grow even further. And their plan will be to grow into new markets as well. So my drive today was to talk about these 3 levers, to talk about the role that AI and low code had in terms of applying technology to these 3 leaders, and to pick 2 use cases which illustrated how we're using these technologies to achieve growth for 2 completely different organizations.
In the interest of time, let's move ahead. Alex, over to you now in terms of Creatio itself and our tech as well as AI focus.
All right, Lucian, thank you very much for passing the floor to talk about Creatio AI roadmap. First of all, we would like to as well remind you guys that our mission as a vendor is to create a world where everyone can automate business ideas in minutes. And this has been proven a very important mission of ours, and a lot of customers actually confirm that this is exactly what they need, and this is exactly how Creatio helps them in their business requirements and their business needs and ever-changing business environment as well. Of course, the incorporated into this mission is the AI vision, right? To provide tools for rapid creation of automated intelligent solutions that reduce the time spent on decision-making and improve the decision quality. which all rolls down into the fact that by having the ability of creating machine-generated insights that will improve the way that the end users operate on the daily basis, that will ultimately influence and improve their productivity, their efficiency, that overall on a macro level will as well help the organizations be more productive, more efficient, and reach their goals and KPIs a lot faster with higher chance of actually meeting them. And of course, there's another part which we believe is also the basis of Creatio as an organization that we call the low-code ethos. That all boils down to providing our customers and our partners with 4 key pillars on which the low-code really stands. First of all, to create an environment where everyone can be a developer. And of course, by that, we don't mean a professional developer, a coder who is quite experienced and is able to write lines and lines of code, but on the contrary, provide business users and those users that have a good insight into the businesses internal kitchen and how exactly they operate with tools to create their own applications. The drag and drop WYSIWYG point and click style of configuration that will enable them in not involving developers as professional developers at all times in order to reach those goals in creating an application for the business users, right? But actually to become citizen developers. Those developers that have enough business insight and as well some technical backgrounds, but not necessarily professional education, and really be able to create applications that will support the needs of the organizations. And by providing these tools to citizen developers to create their own applications, this basically is going to be rolling down into the fact that applications will be created within days rather than months and years, which again is going to be providing a huge level of value to the organizations that are going to be employing the idea of citizen development and low code, because they don't need to wait for a long term in order to start using those applications. And at all times that they need to make some changes into those applications, they are able to achieve those quite quickly and quite fast, right? And of course, because another belief that we have in Creatio is that all of the processes should be and can be orchestrated effortlessly, right? We are focusing on development of our business process management engine that helps us reach incredible results of bringing user and data automation internally within Creatio, but as well connected to other technologies and other applications that are available within the ecosystems of our customers that in enterprise organizations might be quite sufficient, where in bank organizations and BFSI in general, we definitely usually see more than 7, 8, sometimes even 12 applications being used, right? So allow this seamless data exchange, this seamless data connection across all of the applications, across all of the data sources. And speaking about our currently covered cases of machine learning and AI, we'll definitely talk about the, I would say, 5 base areas, right? First of all, classification that allows us to provide a predicted value within a limited number of options, of lookups, of drop-down lists that, of course, can be applied across all of the different business departments of the organization's marketing, sales, and service, but as well be applied in numerous number of cases for non-traditional CRM or non-CRM processes at all. Next type of cases that we're covering with machine learning is definitely scoring. So everything around predictive scoring of leads, applications, churn probability, success probability, and probability of overdoing the case, but again, not limiting to those only. We then can talk as well about regression, so prediction of numeric values, anything starting around predictive amounts, days to close, days to open, days to process, right? And again, I don't like to focus on only some specific example of those because this is going to be kind of a narrowing the whole scope, right, and perspective over possibilities. But you can definitely imagine that even with these three types of data prediction, there's already a lot of capability, a lot of options that our customers can use and can apply these machine learning models. But of course, we're not limited with just the three, where we can as well bring in some additional recommendation systems into play in order to predict next best offers, next best actions for the end users, and as well apply machine assisted search for data. Similar objects with cases, similar knowledge base protocols, similar documents, and any other possible similarity across any data that is going to be residing within Creatio. And moving forward, just a few words about the development directions for this year, for the upcoming years in AI specifically. So first of all, we have four main areas of focus within the AI roadmap, which is always improvement to the existing functionality, where we're going to be focusing on the user experience of settings of machine learning models themselves, right? And as well, how the users are working with business processes, right? So definitely incorporate some machine learning models into those capabilities as well. Next area of focus is definitely implementation of new models for machine learning, where we're going to be focusing on generation of lookalike audience for marketing campaigns and any other list of that can be based on contacts, right? And as well incorporation of time series and time series predictions for the data that we're going to be scoring. Now, moving forward, we as well have an interest of building a unified connector to allow and enable simple integrations with third-party machine learning servers and services, right? This is currently in the review by our team that is covering the AI and machine learning models, and definitely we're going to be announcing some additional specific functionality in the near time. And a very interesting and a very important area of focus for our AI team is definitely process mining, to enable our customers not just easily create business processes, but as well extract certain structures of business processes from a descriptive model. To have a process being described by a non-technical user, non-business analyst that are usually using BPMN or other notations for process modeling, but to be able to take a regular manager, regular staff of the company, describe how the process works, and then automatically convert it into an modeled diagram or even into an already automated executable business process. And these are some of the key areas of interest and focus of our team. So, but because we have this agile Scrum methodology of development of the product features, we always listen to the feedback from our customers, our prospects, and our partners. And if there are any additional areas of interest that you'd like us to focus on, please definitely make sure to leave those in the chat area, and we will transfer all of those to the product teams. And just before we close out this area of the presentation, definitely want to spend a few moments talking about the outcomes of implementing the low-code platform for the organizations or start using it for any business needs. First of all, we see a definite improvement in innovations that are being introduced and changes to the existing processes, sometimes as 10 times faster as they were before, right? This is definitely going to be revolutionizing time to market for our customers. By using intelligent process automation and orchestration tools, you can for sure level up efficiency and productivity of the staff, and you can deliver, exceptional operational excellence. And by using a unified CRM that resides on a single platform that is the low-code application platform, you can connect with customers, partners, and employees in a completely new way, in ways that have never been used before, right? And that, of course, is going to be incredibly boosting the user adoption and making everyone happy. All of these are provided, and all of these are backed up by Creatio, right? Where, of course, we have a unique product offering and architecture where all of the core business environment, business departments of any organization that are sales, marketing, service, can be working on a single platform that can then be used in order to extend the area of coverage to bring additional departments into work, like middle office and back offices, HR, IT departments, and so on, right? And of course, you can accelerate the time to market by reusing certain applications and extensions and templates from Creatio Marketplace that is built on the same technology, right, on our low-code application platform, and that really brings a lot of value to our customers and partners. At this point, I would like to thank everyone for the attention, for the time on this webinar. And Lucian, I'm going to pass it back to you for the final Q&A. Thank you.
Sounds good. Thank you, gentlemen, for that. We are unfortunately out of time. I appreciate the fantastic presentation, as well as a big thank you to our audience. As I mentioned in the beginning, we will be sharing the recording of this session with all of the registrants, and we invite you to come to any of our other webinars and sessions, which we are having plenty of every single month. Thank you, everyone, and have a great day.